All right, let's talk to Leo.
Let's talk to E.
Well, let me mute the stream.
Captain Leo.
People are saying stream. Maybe we'll
Heyo.
do it.
What's up, Leo?
Not much, just doing some homework.
What's the latest problem that you're trying to solve?
I'm trying to work on a senior film. I'm in animation school.
Whoa.
Oh. Well, that could be anything, because it's art. You could just finish now and say it was meant to be like that.
Yeah, just like put a 2-minute fart on the screen. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And get mad when they question you.
There's that episode of Rocko's Modern Life where they became filmmakers and overexposed the whole episode. It was all black, and then everybody thought it was artistic, and they got really famous.
Yeah.
That could be.
Yeah, there you go. Like, whole year saved.
Yeah.
When I had a poetry class in college, and I wrote a really gross poem about eating string cheese. Like, it was like
he's the grossest. String
every
cheese
detail
eater.
was disgusting, and I remember they told me off after I read it to the class. They said, if it's about string cheese, it should be fun. And I was like, are we deciding what art is now?
Yo, you can't do that.
And I made them all go, ooh.
Whoa.
I really
Yeah.
did say that, and no one talked to me in that rest of that class.
That's all right.
18-year-old.
Well, Leo, thank you for taking a break from your homework.
protege.
When is the
Yeah.
project due?
Well, it's a film we do in a year's time, so it's technically due like next year. But
Please put it on the back burner. Talk to me in December when you're really working on it.
yeah, all right, sure thing.
That's
I
what
had
I
a
would
question
do.
for
That's
you guys.
why it was bad at school, for the record.
Yeah. I had a question. Recently, I've been thinking about the fact that a lot of media nowadays is online. Like, you get your music on iTunes, you get your movies on iTunes too, and stuff like that. What's your guys' stance on whether things should move to something purely digital, or if like there should still be physical stuff for people who want it?
I think there will always be a somewhat, even if it's minimal, demand for a physical thing of something, because in all honesty, like, the convenience of all those things is awesome, but it really is at the mercy of the people who hold it. Like, you were just talking about how hard it was to find SpongeBob, you know?
Yeah.
If that was your favorite show of all time, it's like you want a copy of it.
I feel like
think most people.
There is a huge, widespread misconception that everything gets put on Netflix or some digital medium.
Or just the internet in general,
Or the
honestly.
internet in general, yeah. And I read this really interesting article the other day, and it was like top 25 movies that you can only find on VHS. And it was a bunch of classic films that were never put on anything after VHS. They're not on DVD, they're not on Blu-ray, they're not online. And they are critically acclaimed movies. And I feel like every media has that. There are albums that were only put on vinyl record, never on CD or cassette, no MP3s. There's movies like that. And there are TV shows and, there are things that have been lost to time, in fact. Stuff that we've heard about, famous things that we can never watch. I remember I was looking up some old Laurel and Hardy movies, and it was actually, I was looking at this thing about pie fighting in film and the history of pie fighting, and they say that the greatest recorded pie fight of all time has been lost to history. It was like a half-hour Laurel and Hardy movie where an entire city went to war with pies. And they're like, maybe like 12 minutes of it still exists, but the full video, the full clip is completely gone.
Wow.
So I think that, for collectors and for preservation, there will always be, a niche group of people who seek out hard copies. And I think that that's important because a lot of things will fall through the cracks.
Nothing taught me that lesson more. I've brought this up before, but I love King of the Hill. And some of the seasons, the later seasons, were never put on DVD. They stopped after 7, and there was a lot more seasons after that. And I thought, well, I have it on Netflix, and it's totally fine. And then one day, I went to watch King of the Hill, and it's gone. And it's never been back since. It's been years. And it's like, oh, yeah, I don't have this forever. They have limited licenses, and they could go away, and then you could have what you think is yours and you have is taken away, and it's gone. So, yeah, now I wish I had a physical copy of all his last seasons because I can't get them anywhere else.
And to be honest, these companies are more and more doing things where you unwittingly agree to terms which say, like, the things you get, you don't actually own them, and at any time we can revoke your license to view them. And so when you don't have a physical copy, you don't actually possess it.
Yeah,
you could lose it at any moment.
I was wondering that because, like, when you buy the digital... You buy a Blu-ray for say, and then they have a digital code that goes along with it.
Yeah.
Can they get rid of that? Can they take that away from you?
I
Or is
think
that
You
yours?
should be able to download that forever. You should.
Well, I know.
Hey,
I'm saying,
no,
but
I think technically, legally, nobody would ever do this, but I think technically, when you buy a Blu-ray, it is still like you were buying the rental rights to view that film, and you
Yeah.
don't technically own it. That's why you can't duplicate the Blu-ray and
Yeah.
do, copy it and stuff. And
You can for your own use.
yeah, but
your
if
own
there
use,
was
but
some
that's
way
it.
where they could turn off your Blu-ray through, I think legally they would be allowed to do that. Because,
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, that's a good question. If they legally would be allowed to do that.
not that they
For
physically
your own
can.
use. Because the whole thing, movies, when you buy a movie, even physically, like you're like a Blu-ray, that is technically for your own use.
You're paying
not
for
public.
screening rights.
Right.
Yeah, honestly, you're not. That's why it says there's a warning about showing it publicly. Like,
Yeah.
you're not even supposed to show it to like your classroom
Yes.
or anything.
Which
It
is
is your
crazy.
own personal use. And they did rule in the court that making a copy for your own use is completely legal. But I'm curious if where that ends, could they shut it off? If they had the ability to turn that off, could they do
I
it?
think they could, because with the digital,
I don't know.
with the digital version, that's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
So, Leo, I hope that answers your question.
Well, they
Yeah.
did that with legally they can, and the way Blu-ray works, they can update players to ban a disc. That's interesting.
There you
I don't
go.
know if that's ever
Oh
happened.
yeah.
I don't know if that's ever happened. But I remember there was a big turmoil over, this isn't movies or anything, but what was it? Something came out on Kindle. People bought, I want to say it was, ironically enough, 1984, and people woke up to have it was removed from their Kindle. And it was like, why? Well, that version of the book wasn't the right one. And it was like, okay. And honestly, later when it was all explained, it made sense why they did it. It was like, it wasn't the right one to be put, like somebody illegally put it on the store.
I see.
However, it still didn't sit right. People were
Yeah,
like,
well, they
I
bought
was
it.
still in the middle of reading this,
Yeah,
and I bought it. I understand that shouldn't have been on there, but I have it. So there was a lot of dodgy
it's
shit
not my
with
fault
that.
that I found 1984 on my Kindle store and bought it. That's
Exactly.
your fault that it was on your store.
That's how I felt. I think they should have left it like, okay, we won't sell it anymore.
Yeah,
but leave it alone.
Yeah, you can't. No, I fucking spent money on it.
So
You should regulate what's on your store, not what I should buy. That's your job.
So if they could legally do that, yeah, I guess they could with the movie.
There you go.
There was
They-
a thing a couple of years back, I think, where there was a 3DS game or a Vita game, I don't remember, but someone found a piracy hack in it, so like they could exploit the system through the game, and they just removed it from the store and from everyone's system. So like if you bought that game because you like legit wanted to play it, you're just like out of luck because you can't do anything.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean that's a different story where there's an exploit and it could be harmful to the continuation of that service. So I get why they remove it, but yeah, at the same time it's like, I got it. It's not my fault. I don't know.
There are things now. Like everything now is connected to the internet. Everything is. Whereas before, if you got a Super Nintendo, you have that game. That's it. Like you can't turn that off for you. It's just that is what it is. But now they really could. Anything you buy or discs you buy, whatever, they could easily stop that from being useful to you.
Yeah.
We've gone too far. Let's go back.
But also, too, I will say, going back to the Blu-ray thing, like technically they could program a Blu-ray to not play.
Yeah.
You always have the option to turn the internet connection off on a Blu-ray player.
True.
It will bug you about it, but you always
there you
can
go.
leave it off.
Yeah.
For now.
Just throwing it out. Yeah.
Until they have the always-on requirement, which is coming out in 2 years. Thanks, Leo.
Thanks, Leo. Good
Yeah,
luck
no
on
problem.
Your animation.
That was a
Thank you.
good
Thanks for
call.
taking my call.
I'm going to take off now.
I'll go with you for a
Sorry.
little bit if you want to keep going, or it's
Sure.
up to you,
Yeah, I want
Rocco.
to keep going for a minute.